Okay, so hi guys. Today I'll be telling you about uh, EC2 instances. We are gonna create a project on EC2 instances, and what that project is gonna be is like we're gonna create six computers. Let's say six EC2 instances, and what are the role of those EC2 instances will be. Supposedly, we wanna do operations on each EC2 instances, and operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So in the first computer, the first EC2 instance, they're gonna take two inputs, number one and number two. And then in the second EC2 instances, those two numbers should be performing the addition. Third EC2 instances in computer, those two numbers should be performing subtraction. In the fourth one, those numbers should be performing multiplication, and fifth would be division. Now, once all these four things are done, we are gonna show the output of these things in the first EC2 instances. Like once supposedly in the first EC2 instances, when we run, then he'll ask us the first number, which is we'll write 2, and the second number will be 4. Then as soon as we enter 4 and click enter, the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of those numbers should be displayed on a out as a output there, and then all these data that we are taking as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all these things, we're gonna store it on a database in a AWS, which is like will in this case, that for the database we're gonna use DynamoDB, AWS DynamoDB. So let's just start. So this was the brief of the project. Now let's just start how we are gonna do it. So firstly, we'll just go to our EC2 panel, like this is the console, and then mm, everything we are gonna do from the command line. It's just that I'm showing you how to create EC2 instances from here. Like the EC2 instances total would be six, and the type would be Linux. Then it's there would be T2 micro. I have already created a keeper as project. You could also create a new keeper as if you want. Then the existing security group, which would be launch wizard 2. Now, what is this security group is? Now, the security group. Now, here is the security group, launch wizard 2. Now, I'll show you this security group, security, or just write EC2. I'll show you the things we have done in the security group. So in the security group, let's go to our security group, launch wizard 2. Now you can create this security group would not be there in your. So in the inbound rules, uh, this is the default inbound rule that you'll be seeing in a security group. Now we have to add one more inbound rule. Right now we are now the inbound rule would be IPv4, and the TCP and the port would be 5000, and we could access it from anywhere. That's what these 0.0.0.0 means. That the we could access this to whoever the security group is attached to, whichever instance we could access it from anywhere. Now, why are we using port 5000 is because we are right now to perform all those functions of addition, subtraction, we are using Python Flask. So that Flask web server is gonna be running on port 5000. Now, what is this and everything? Now I'll tell you. Now, once uh, you could create a new security group or go for existing security group. And for the advanced detail, here is the advanced detail. I'll just tell you. Okay. So for the advanced detail, here is the user data. What this mean is once we launch a EC2 instance, what all things that we want that EC2 instance to perform. Like we want a few tasks to like install the Python 3 library, install Flask, install all these things that we need to perform operation. We want the EC2 instances to pre-install all these dependencies, and then we're gonna write the code. So for that, I'm gonna add those in our bin. Now, what is this is this will be like bin bash. This is the first thing that we should be writing in our this user data. Now sudo yum update. Now this is the command which is gonna be running at the first. Now what does this command do? It just update all the libraries which are there present in it. Right now, firstly, there would be no libraries. Now it's fine. We're gonna do sudo yum install Python 3. Now this is the second command. Now sudo yum install Python 3 pip. Why? We are gonna be installing pip. Now after that sudo yum install or we wanna install Flask. So pip 3. This is what is right now is happening is sudo yum install update is updating. Sudo yum install is uh installing this Python. Sudo yum install Python. This is gonna install Python 3. This is gonna install pip command. Now what after that is what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for pip 3 install Flask. Okay. So pip 3 install Flask. Now this is the second last command that we're gonna do in our EC2 instances. Now these are the EC2 instances. We're gonna launch these instances. Why we are launching it from here and not from Terraform is because if we install it from Terraform, then again we have to come back to the this console to check the uh, each EC2 instance public ID. So right now we have installed. Let's go for the running EC2 instances. These are the EC2. Let's just name these EC2 instance one. Now this would be our instance two. We have right now we have done nothing. We just have uh instance four instance. We have just created our six EC2 instances and nothing else is what we have done right now. Now let's just do that. Yeah. Okay. So now we have created our six EC2 instances. Now for the first is we are gonna take input output. Second is gonna do addition. Third subtraction. Fourth multiplication. Fifth is gonna do divide. And the sixth EC2 instance that we have uh, running, the sixth EC2 instance that we have here, what he is gonna do is it is gonna save the data in our DynamoDB database. So for that, we need to add a IAM role in this EC2 instance so that what that IAM role is that he could access all the he could like create Dynamo table, edit it, and everything that he could do in a EC2 instance. So for that, I need to go to your instance state or sorry actions and then networking uh security. Yeah. So modify IAM role. Now the IAM role EC2 instance 6 role. I have already created a IAM role for this. Now I'll tell you what that IAM role is so that you don't get any confused. So we'll go to our IAM. How do we create a role is we go to our roles and this is the instance 6 role that I have just attached to it. Now what this instance 6 role is, it has a permission what Amazon DynamoDB full access so that it would create and everything and perform task on DynamoDB. Now after this, I have also created a DynamoDB table. So this is our DynamoDB. Now you could find in the tables, I have already created a table known as calculation results. There's nothing I have done. The partition key I've just named as operation ID, except that I have added nothing or I have done nothing. Everything is by default, whatever that AWS provides us is what we have done. Now, is we are going to store it in this. Now we have created our six EC2 instances. We have created a IAM rule for a sixth EC2 instance. We have created a DynamoDB table. Now, let's just go to our terminal. Just go to our terminal, and once we are in our terminal, uh, uh, let's go to our directory where our key pair is stored. Like in my case, the key pair is stored in downloads folder. Now I have to do SSH. Now this is the command for SSH. Now SSH downloads project PEM is my key pair name. This is the downloads where the key pair is just the path of the key pair. Now the EC2 user is how we SSH into our EC2 instance. Now after this, what we have to do is we have to enter our first EC2 instance public IP so that we could SSH it. So this is how we are gonna enter. Now create this. Now it's gonna ask yes. Now this is how we are gonna enter in our EC2 instances. Now you could see we have entered our EC2 instance, and you could see the 35.171.162 is our public IP, and you could see it over here. So this is our first EC2 instance. We'll go ls. There is no file that is being created. So we're gonna create a file nano instance 1.python. Now this is how we have created our EC2 instance one, a file by name of instance one. Now here is the code I have written already so that I could show it to you. Now this is the command C, and here we are gonna paste it. Now what this is, I'll tell you. Now it is gonna, what we are doing is we are doing all the things via Flask web framework. Now, what is gonna do is the first you could see we are gonna import the request. What are the requests? What all the requests that are coming from EC2, other four EC2 instances, like the result of addition, subtraction, everything. So we're gonna import it from here. This request is like a pre-built library in a Flask. Now then this forward to EC2, forward to instance 6 is what is the we are gonna first how the flow of the project is like. Firstly, we're gonna in the first instance, we're gonna take input. Second, third, fourth, fifth is gonna give us the output of all the programs. Then from the from the first EC2 instance, we're gonna forward all the results or the data into the sixth EC2 instance. And from the sixth EC2 instance, we're gonna create a DynamoDB table. So that is what the sixth EC2 instance is used for. Now, right now, here you could see these are the things that I've written. Like here, save URL, save underscore URL is what I'll create a file in the sixth EC2 instance by the name of save underscore URL. Now I'll write here the uh, here is what I'm gonna write is the sixth EC2 instance. See, I have to send all the data in the sixth EC2 instance. So I'll copy the IP address of sixth EC2 instance and paste it over here. Paste it over here. And I told you we are working on 5,000, like the thing that we are working on is what? Is the URL. It's like 5,000 is the port. Now this is what we are gonna do right now. And right now we have done this. After that, uh, this is what num1, num2, you have the two numbers. Addition is add result, subtract result, multiply result, divide result. What is we are gonna do is we are storing all those things in this uh, value, and then we are gonna send it all those values to EC2 instance 6. Now we are gonna write the main code of taking the command. So the firstly we are gonna take a num1 as input the first number, num2 as input the second number. Now add URL, subtract URL. What are these things is now wait. Yeah. So this is it. And also wait. Yeah, you could see here. And is the port is the 5,000. Now after this, you just have to write a save so that we could remember. This is what is saving it in the sixth EC2 instances. Now here is what add. Now from where we are gonna be taking the add result is from the second EC2 instance. So we are gonna write here the URL of the second EC2 instance. So let's go to our console and check the EC2 instance too. Now the URL is this. Now we are going to copy this. We're gonna uh we're gonna paste it over here. And before that, see if we are gonna paste it like this, this what I'm saying is command line won't be able to understand how do we direct it to this website or web or the URL. So before that, we have to write this HTTP dot is what we have to enter the complete URL. So here on the add, I'm gonna write HTTP. This is you're gonna be writing the complete URL of everything. So now we have written this. After that, is our what? Subtract. Now from where the subtract is coming is gonna be coming from the third EC2 instance. Okay. So you're gonna go to this. We're gonna go to a third EC2 instance. We're gonna copy the IPv4 address, and then we are gonna be pasting it here. So this is our third EC2 subtract URL. Now the multiply is gonna be coming from fourth EC2 instance. Copy the fourth and paste it here. Now for the fifth is what we are gonna divide. Now we are gonna go back to our fifth EC2 instance, and we're gonna divide, copy the URL and paste it over here. Now what are these things is doing is these are the things which are fetching the results from that EC2 instance. How will they fetch is because they need the public URL of that EC2 instance. Yes, that's why we have added here the URL of those add multiplier of those instances. Now payload is what? The num1, num2, num1, this is what is storing the data. So num1 is being stored in num1. Num2 is stored in num2. This is just storing for the database. Now after this, what we are going to add is now how do we want the output to be printed as? We have printed here the uh, output of all those addition result and the add underscore result is what it is what add underscore result is. It is gonna fetch the result from EC2 instance, which is gonna perform addition. Now subtract underscore result is fetch the result from EC2 third EC2 instance and fetch the result and give it here. Now same is with multiply and divide. Now after this, how we are forwarding all those things into our EC2 instance 6 is we have passed an argument forward to instance 6. Now what it does is it is gonna be passing what num1, num2, addition result, subtract result, multiply, divide, and yeah, these six things are is what it is gonna be passing it to the EC2 instance so that you could hear num1, num2, add result, subtract result, multiply, divide result is what we have given in the start. So now after everything we have printed it, now we are forwarding all the result to sixth EC2 instance. So yeah, this is what is gonna be the uh, written script written for our first instance. Now we are gonna save it. Now control C is oh sorry, control oh okay. So control O is in a is the command to save the file. Now file name to write is instance to Python. Now to exit it, we're gonna control X. Now we are gonna perform ls. Now you could see we have written instance1.python. Now this is the script that we have written. Now Now, this is the first thing that we are gonna do is exit from this instance because this, or let's just wait. Let's just go back and check if all the dependencies are installed or not. 25.1%. Okay, so let's just go back to the instance again. Let's just see. We have like sudo yum pip we have installed in this. So let's just check the pip version. If it's installed, it will show us. So, so you could see we might have performed some things wrong in our user data. So we could write a sudo. Oh, एक second. PIP 3 version. Okay, so PIP command is not found, which means is the PIP is not installed. So we're gonna go again, perform sudo yum update. Why? It's done. Sudo yum update. Sudo yum install Python 3. Now we're gonna install a Python. Then we are gonna install our pip. Now we are gonna be installing. Now it is gonna be installed. Now pip install Flask. Pip3 install Flask. Pip3 install Flask. Now it is gonna install our Flask here. Yeah. Now everything is done. Sudo yum update y. Now we're gonna update everything. Now it's done. Everything is done. You would see the file is still there. I will exit it from this. Now just clear this. Now we are gonna go SSHR second. The second thing is what? Our EC2 instance 2. Now I copy this. Now we're gonna SSH into this. I'm gonna enter the EC2 instance second URL. Now, yes. Now we are in our second EC2 instance. You could see ls. There is no file right now here. So firstly, I think everything has to be done from the start. So sudo yum update y is what we're gonna do. Then sudo yum install Python 3. It is gonna install the dependency. Then we're gonna install pip. Now it's gonna install the pip. And here is what we're gonna install the Flask. In every EC2 instance, Flask is mandatory because if we don't install a Flask, then we are not able to import or send HTTP requests to each other. So once we have installed this, now just clear pip3 version. You could see Python 3.9. Now we're gonna create a nano edition dot Python. I'm gonna create a Python file. Now what we are gonna do is we are gonna take, I will show you we are gonna just, the second instance is nothing. It is just gonna add those two numbers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy and just gonna paste here. Now what this code is doing is this code is importing the Flask right now, importing the request and importing the number that he's gonna fetch from EC2 instance 1. Now this is the app root right now here. And right now, what it's gonna do is perform addition of those two numbers. The addition is very simple. The data is what he's gonna be taking is from the EC2 instance 1. So data is gonna request dot get underscore JSON is how he's gonna be fetching the data from EC2 instance 1. Num1 is how the data is from from EC2 instance. We have taken num1 as how we are storing the number one is in num1. In num2 is we're gonna store the number two. So data num1 is how is gonna fetch the number one first number. Data num2 is how is gonna be fetching the second number. Now all the addition is what we are gonna store in result. So that result is what is gonna be giving us the uh, addition of these two numbers. Now we're gonna save it as result here and do nothing. Now what this if underscore underscore name is gonna be doing is this is like a pre-built thing in a Flask is what it does is this is like underscore underscore name underscore underscore is a command in the Flask. What it does is it helps us to send the data via HTTP request to the host server. Now the host server is what we have the Flask app, the port is 5000. So here the app is running on, we could like access it from anywhere 0.0.0, and on which port it is running, it is like 5000. Now this is what we are going to save the file as addition.python. Now exit. Now let's do ls. Addition.python is what we have saved the file as. Now after that, uh, let's just let's just run this. Okay. So to run this, we are gonna do let's just addition. Uh, wait. Addition dot Python. Wait, I think so. Yeah, now we have run our Python. Sorry, Flask app for the addition server. Now, how do we run this is we have installed Python 3, then the file name and the end sign. This is what is the command to run a Flask app. Now, we can't close this because we want the server to keep running. So we'll just keep it here. Now, this is for the addition. Now you have to just create another window of terminal. Let's just go to our downloads folder where we have stored our uh, what we have stored our key pair. Now let's just SSH into the third EC2 instance. Now the third EC2 instance would be this, and this is gonna perform our subtraction. Wait. Oh. Let's go to a new window, cd downloads, and then we're gonna SSH into the third EC2 instance, 34.201.249. Yeah, this is what we're gonna be doing. Yes. Now we are in a third EC2 instance. Let's check ls. There's nothing. We'll create firstly, let's just sudo and sudo yum update. If there is any already dependencies, there's no. So let's just install Python. Sudo yum install Python 3. Then we're gonna be installing pip. Let's just install pip. Now pip is gonna install. Now we are gonna install this pip install Flask. Now we are gonna be installing Flask. Now everything is done. Let's just go ls. There's no file. Let's just create nano subtract dot py. What it's gonna do is now if the code is gonna be remaining the same, the code will be same. It's just gonna be subtracting. So let's just go here, copy, and just minimize this. Just paste this. Now everything is gonna be remaining the same. In our num1, num2, in the result we are gonna be storing is num1 minus num2 because we are gonna subtract everything underscore name. Port is 5000 in which we are running our this Flask app. Now cancel. Now control O is how gonna we be saying subtract.py. Control X. Then let's go ls. We have saved. Now what we are gonna do is now we have saved this thing. Now we are gonna run this. How do we run this? Python 3 subtract.py, and this is how we're gonna run our this. Now this server is running. This is for the subtract. Let's just keep it here. This is for the addition. This is for the subtraction. This is our third EC2 instance. Now let's go create a new window. Let's just go to downloads. So now we have to SSH into our fourth EC2 instance, which is gonna multiply. Now we'll copy the URL. Now we're gonna enter the URL and we're gonna be entering in our fourth EC2 instance, which is gonna multiply. Now let's just go ls so that I could show you. Now let's just do the command. Oh, we're not able to get it because the new command. So yeah, sudo update. Oh, sudo yum update. And then sudo yum install Python 3 slash pip. Then it's gonna be installing our this and pip install Python. Sorry, Flask. Pip install Flask. It's gonna install our Flask. Now once this is done, clear. ls is to show you there's no file. Nano multiply dot py. Everything remains same. Even the code remains same. What is gonna be changing is the result, the output. So from here I'll copy this. You could just copy and then paste. Now what it is gonna do is it is gonna in the result you could see in the result the num1 is and num2 and this result is gonna be sending it to our EC2 instance 1. Then control O is how we're gonna save multiply.py and control X is how we're gonna exit it from here. ls you could see multiply.py. Now what you're gonna do is we are gonna run this. How we're gonna run this is python 3 multiply dot py. Yeah. So this is how we have run our uh, third, fourth EC2 instance, which is for multiplication. Now we are gonna create another EC2 instance. Go to CD downloads. Now what it is gonna do is for fifth EC2 instance, let's go to our fifth EC2 instance, copy the IPv4 address. We're gonna SSH into this. We're gonna enter. Now it's gonna ask yes. Now we are in a fifth EC2 instance, which is for multiplier. Now ls there is nothing. Sudo yum update y. It's gonna do nothing. It's gonna update. Then what we are gonna do is sudo yum install python 3 slash pip. We're gonna install our pip. Then pip is gonna sudo yum inst install pip 3. Then pip install Flask. Now it's gonna be installing Flask. Now let's just clear the screen. ls there is no file. Nano divide. It's easy to install. It's for divide. Divide.py. So we are gonna be creating a divide function. So for the fifth, let's just take the same and let's just copy, just paste here, minimize this. So yeah, in the result, num1 is gonna divide it by num2. Okay, so here we have put a exception because if there is a zero, then the result would be infinity. So for that we have if the num2 is zero, suppose anything divided by zero is infinity. So if the num2 is zero, we are taking a case if num2 is zero, then the result will show us as infinity. Else, will gonna show the result. So now we're gonna be control O is how we're gonna be saving the control X is how we're gonna get exit. ls you could see the file. Now let's just run this server as well. How we're gonna run this is Py python 3 divide divide.py. This is gonna run our fourth server, which is like the divide server. Okay, so let's just keep it here. Now let's create another terminal which is gonna take the CD desktop. Now the sixth EC2 instance. In this, what it was doing is taking all the results from EC2 instance 1 and then sending it to DynamoDB. Then how we're gonna do is uh let's just SSH into this. First, let's just copy our public IPv4 address. Let's uh, let's just SSH into this. We're gonna enter the address here. 8. Yeah, 3.87. Save. Now we're gonna enter. Now yes. Here we are in our last EC2 instance, which is like a sixth EC2 instance. Ls there is nothing. So sudo yum update y. It is gonna update every dependency and sudo yum install Python 3 pip. It's gonna install our pip. Now pip is gonna be get installed. Then we are gonna install our Flask. Pip install Flask. It's gonna install our Flask. Now it's done. Let's just clear this. Just see ls. There is no. Let's just create a new nano. By this, we're gonna create a save underscore data dot py. It's gonna now for the sixth, I'll show you the code and explain it to you. This is what gonna the sixth is gonna do. Now what this is right now is now it's gonna import Flask, import the request from EC2, import Boto3 because we are gonna write everything from Python. And then now the thing is in DynamoDB table, now in this everything is like coming in float value. Now we have to convert that float value into decimal value. So that is why we have written here from decimal, import decimal. Now we're gonna do this. Now the DynamoDB table. Now the DynamoDB table we have created was in EC2 US East 1 region, and this is the connect to DynamoDB table. Now, this command is what we are going to use to connect our DynamoDB table, which we have created earlier. So now, DynamoDB table boto3.resources, it's going to check the DynamoDB table. It's going to check in this region, and then DynamoDB table, it's going to connect us to this table. Now, calculation result is what our table name was. Now after this, now how it's gonna be saving our the data and everything is we have I told you then the operations have written operation ID as a default value so that now num1 how it is gonna make the table is firstly it's gonna take num1 num2 then addition subtraction multiplication division and then it's gonna result whatever the result of those things is there it is gonna convert it into string because the dynamo table in that default value when we create a DynamoDB table the default value of those tables are string. It's gonna convert everything into string value and then it's gonna create a table from there. Now, and then of course why we have written underscore underscore name underscore underscore is because it is the Flask app is running on port 5000 and it can be accessed from anywhere that is why 0.0.0.0 is written. Now ensure now after this let's just go here. Control O is how do we save it and Control X. Now we have saved this. ls, we could see the file, save data.py. Let's just run this as well. Python 3, save underscore data.py. So this is gonna run our, oh, okay. Mhm. ls, okay. So, uh, no module, go to 3. From decimal to decimal, trace back most recent caller, sudo yum install, go to 3. Okay, let's just clear this. Let's just run and see what the error was. So Python 3 uh, file name was save underscore data dot py and yeah. So okay, so what it's saying is home EC2 user saved underscore data line 2 in module import boto 3. Let's just go to a file nano sorry ls nano save nano save underscore data dot py. Let's just see. Then from flask import boto 3 and there. Then here it is. Come on, Control X. Okay, so what it was saying is, uh, okay, so this was the error that we were seeing. I just try to run and let's show you. This is the error. Why it is showing is the Boto 3 is not installed, which is like fine. Pip install Boto 3. Now it is gonna install our Boto 3 and everything is done. Let's just clear. Let's just run the command now. And just run this and now it's running. Here it is. Now it's running. Minimize this. Just minimize this. And this is a 6TC2 instance server. And just go it, keep it here. Now we have created addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and storing the data. Now let's just go and check out this. Now everything is done. Let's go to downloads. Now we're gonna everything was done from the input. Let's take a input. Let's SSH. Let's SSH into our first EC2 instance. This is our first EC2 instance. Go to running states. Now this is the first EC2 instance, 35. Just copy it, go to terminal, and just paste this. 5.1 instance 1. Okay. Let's just run this. We are in our first EC2 instance. We had created our instance 1.py file. You could see it's there. Let's run this file. Python 3 instance 1.python. Let's run this. No such file directory. Okay, just let me. Instance 1. Okay, let's just run this. Enter the first number, it says. Let's enter the 10 is first number. Enter, then enter the second number. Let's say 2. Now we have everything written over here. Now what did you see? These are the Flash server which were running. Now this server sends the data, takes the data of num1, num2, sends it here, given the result, addition result 12. This server gave us the result, subtraction result 8, multiplication result 20. This server will give us the divide result 5. And this server gave us that the data is saved to DynamoDB successfully. Now, how do you want to see the DynamoDB table? If you want to see the DynamoDB table, let's see. This was our table. Let's go to the calculation results, explore table items, and see. Right now, we have created this. Now the num1 was 10, num2 was 2, and this was the table that we have created here. Now this is the DynamoDB table. It is created and it is gonna be storing. Now I have run those commands 2 times. Now if I write again, I'll just create let's say 200 and 100 is the second number. Now this is the command DynamoDB saved. Now you could see, now you just refresh this. Now you refresh this. Now it's showing 3. Now this is the latest. Num1 is 200, num2 is 100, and everything is automatically getting updated. So this is what was the uh, project in which I have created 6 EC2 instances, one for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, one to store the data or every data into DynamoDB table, and one to take the input and output. So here is what we have shown to you. I have shown to you how do we create this. Now, there are a few other things that you could do to do this thing is you could create resources via Terraform or via command line or via Amazon SDK. AWS SDK, I mean. So that depends on you. How do you find convenient by creating resources? Now I have created this, and then yeah, just this, and you could say this. So all the servers are running. Now when I run the first server, it asked me for number. It gave us me the output of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and stored everything in DynamoDB database. Now it is going to stay in the DynamoDB database as long as you want to. Yeah.